look as we go through the college football schedules for the power conferences, and it's something we started a few weeks back with the Big 12. We also went through the ACC already, and now at this point going through the Big 10, and have people pop in sometimes like, why are you not talking about Iowa State track and field? I thought this – because sometimes you need a break, and sometimes it's fun to just do something different and look at what's also going around the rest of the country. And so this has been a fun exercise. Not to project or preview or do much of that. The only preview really is just that we're taking a look at the schedule for each team and just going through it and getting a better idea of who faces what, and just a fun exercise. So by the end, when the season rolls around, we'll have gone through every power school and have an idea of kind of what they're facing on paper. This is very much an on-paper exercise, not a prediction. And so today we are in the Big Ten still and just making our way through. As we have quite a few more teams left to go because, as Smokey mentioned a little while ago, they start with I. So we're at Illinois and Indiana, and now we're only to Michigan. So we still have a bit of a ways to go, but the Wolverines, coming off of a national title a couple of years ago, rode that into this season. Sharon Moore taking over, or to last season, Sharon Moore taking over full-time for Jim Harbaugh after – yes, a national championship, but also a whole lot of just what's going on and like what's all this signals and everything else like that. Sharon Moore, with the reins fully, proceeded to go 8-5 with his squad last season, 5-4 in the Big Ten. So what is in store this year for Michigan? I think that's a big question mark, but we do know who they're playing. That we can say for certain. As to how good these teams are, well, that's kind of part of the fun of the exercise. So let's get into this Michigan football schedule for 2025. And I first have to say, there's a part where I mentioned who they don't play, and this is driving me freaking insane, man. I'm going to have to go home, and I've tried to do it during the commercial break, but my math just doesn't add up right. They've got 18 freaking teams.
So 11? No, I'm sorry. How many that I could have played? Go ahead. 10?
So there's 18 teams. You can take Michigan off that, so that's 17. You got, 9 conference games?
Yep.
So that's 8 teams they shouldn't play, and I keep falling one short. So I don't know who I'm missing on here, but we will see if I figure that out, or if we just miss somebody on that. But that's not really important. I just want to air my grievances of the minor things that come with these large conferences. That is one thing, is having to go through so many teams to try and figure out who's playing who and who's not playing who. So as far as who they're playing, on August the 30th, Saturday, right out of the gates for the Wolverines, they'll be at home in the Big House, and it will be the New Mexico Lobos to start things off with. So you feel pretty confident in that one, I would say. Then Saturday, September the 6th, right out of the gates, what should be a pretty fun contest, as they will travel to the top
extended vehicle warranties. What is the waiting period? An extended car warranty or vehicle service contract usually has a set expiration. Warranty providers have introduced a waiting period. This waiting period lasts for 30 days or 1,000 miles. That means that your coverage only starts after the 30 days, or once you've reached 1,000 miles. Protect your vehicle. Sign up on Chase today.
10 certainly, and maybe top 5 depending on how you sort of view things, but a top battle of blue bloods all time is Michigan will go to Norman to take on Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners in non-con action. And then on Saturday, September the 13th, they head back home after that big showdown with the Sooners, who are getting some top 25 love this preseason. I mean, they spent the bill. I mean, they deserve the offseason headlines as much as a Texas Tech does, or Miami in years past. So Oklahoma, Michigan will be really interesting there in week 2. But Central Michigan there in week 3. And then they close the month of September, opening up Big Ten play on the road at the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Big opportunity for Matt Rule and company there at home. So I'll stop there. They will have their bye week, actually, so it's a perfect place to stop right there at the last week of September. So play 4 straight, get that last week of September off, their first bye week, and we will move on after we break down New Mexico at home, Central Michigan at home. They'll be 2-0 at home, but could they be 0-2 on the road?
They could be.
Damn right they're going to lose to former Big 8 teams in Oklahoma and Nebraska.
And That Oklahoma game in particular is the "Did you fix it?" bowl between Michigan and Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
And a couple of new quarterbacks. I mean, Underwood though. We're getting our first long looks, and he's got a lot of hype. And the material, obviously, with Oklahoma, he's been talked about all offseason.
Or is it Mikey Keene at that point in the season?
Yeah.
And look, I'll tell you this about Mikey Keene: if he had transferred to Michigan last year, they might have won the Big Ten.
No.
Yeah, he's way better than the other guys that they had.
Yeah, last year that's
why they lost games. So if Mikey Keene is there, now I don't know if that's the case this year.
Who was their quarterback last year? Denard Robinson? No, I'm kidding. But it was
a bunch of different dudes.
No, they didn't do well.
It wasn't J.J. McCarthy. That's who it was.
So
sure.
So yeah, I think if Mikey Keene's there, they're in contention for the Big Ten because their defense was elite and they still had high-end offensive linemen and running backs. And
their defense was elite until the first game when Texas rolled them, right?
But after that. Yeah, I mean, after that, Texas, that was a different kind of animal. But Oklahoma, going to Norman is a tough thing to do. Anytime you go there, Mateer and Ott and everything that they've done, that's really interesting. And then going to Nebraska, year 2 of Dylan Raiola, let's go. I mean, you're going to know about Michigan. Actually, you're going to know about Michigan, Oklahoma, and Nebraska pretty early on about, what kind of their salt is. And especially since we're talking about Michigan here, you're going to know who they are. You're going to know if Sharon Moore, in one of these games, at least one of these games in the non-conference, he's suspended for.
It's the CMU and Nebraska.
Yeah, it's not Oklahoma on the road.
Let's be very clear. That's what they want him to be suspended for.
No, that's true.
That was their request. That was their, hey, we're going to just offer to miss these games right here, and the NCAA has not cleared that yet. Okay. So that doesn't mean that he's.
And if he had the choice to be at Oklahoma or at Lincoln or in Lincoln, because you would want him to coach the game. That's also where he played at Oklahoma. So there's a little bit of a personal thing there. I asked Matt Rule, I said, hey, is that disrespecting you? He goes, no, I just think that they've already played us before. This is the new start up of teams playing, so that makes sense for him to want to be in that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's some cool things about the expanded conferences, but man, there's really a lot of downsides to it. I mean, the fact that you can go so long without playing certain teams, like not playing Michigan if you're in Nebraska, wasn't that part of the point of going to the Big Ten? Was you're going to play Michigan on a regular basis? Or I don't know. There's other maybe better examples of that. I always go back to what A&M going to Georgia. It's going to take 25 years before they do that for the first time, I forget what it was. Georgia going to A&M or A&M going to Georgia, but they've been in the league for 12 years. It's never happened, kind of a thing. So that's just going to be more commonplace. But yeah, I mean, Sharon Moore, Michigan offered to, dictate their punishment basically, and we'll see this summer if they get their wish granted or if it will go differently for them. But yeah, that's why this is more of an on paper, because there's a lot of things that we don't know yet. And so when we look at them again in August, we'll know what he's suspended for, or what that looks like, and it will be fully factual. But for right now, yeah, he's trying to kind of pick and choose. So coming back after the bye week against Nebraska, or after Nebraska, start up the month of October the 4th, Wisconsin at home. Then a travel to Los Angeles to take on Lincoln Riley and Southern Cal in a big rivalry game there. Then on October the 18th, it's Washington at the Big House. And then October 25th, you have a road trip to East Lansing for a big rivalry matchup with Sparty. Then on November the 1st, you have Purdue at home. And they've obviously made some big moves in their own right with Barry Odom. I mean, they're at Purdue now, so they should be somewhat improved or certainly different. And then they will head into their second and final bye week. So, I mean, if you're doing logos, sorry, Purdue.
And
I know, depending on what kind of a logo conversation you're having with whoever, maybe one of these doesn't count the same way for another person as they do. But I don't know. Damn, man. Wisconsin, Southern Cal, Washington, Michigan State, 4 straight weeks is pretty damn salty as a schedule goes, you know?
Yeah, and that's all the first, all 5 of those teams are in kind of big transitions of who they are and might be. But those are
either brand new coach or coach on his way out. I mean, Wisconsin's got to see some results, and USC needs to see some results, and then Washington and Michigan State's brand new still in a way. So
Purdue brand new. So
Purdue,
So they have all that going for them, but these 4 schools are ones that they don't normally last very long in the desert. Like even though, none of them.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
you're talking about a different part of the schedule.
Okay, this middle part, like these four, even if they're not, playoff contenders, they never go long without being at least good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it would get really scary to me if I'm a Michigan fan is this middle part, if the light comes on for Luke Fickell, if Lincoln Riley gets himself a quarterback, that plays better. If Damon Williams at Washington is as good as everybody thinks he is, if year 2 in Michigan State with Aiden Childs and Jonathan Smith is better, and that's a rivalry game, it almost doesn't even matter who the players are in a game like that. On the road in East Lansing, like all those things should be really tough for Michigan.
Aiden Childs, it's been a while since I heard that name.
Yeah, well, he's the quarterback there,
So then the final stretch of the schedule, 3 games in the month of November. Coming back after the bye week, you've got a road trip to Northwestern on Saturday, November the 15th, and then another road trip the following week to Maryland. So the only time they've got back-to-back home games comes in the month of November, and then close it out with, of course, the biggest one of them all, the game against Ohio State. And so that is what will close things out at the Big House this year on Saturday, November the 29th. So there is the Michigan schedule. And in terms of your logos,
bunch.
You've got Oklahoma, you've got Nebraska, you've got Wisconsin and USC and Washington State and Michigan State and Ohio State. And so I think that's a lot of damn logos.
You said Washington State. You meant Washington.
Or Washington, yeah. Washington, Michigan State. Yeah, I didn't mean Washington State. But, yeah, that's a pretty good haul. And you also have your beat-up games. You're going to beat up Central Michigan. You're going to beat up New Mexico. So, yeah, that's the Michigan schedule. As far as who they don't play, I mean, just the highlights of this are no non-Saturday games because they're not going to be playing on a Friday night. They're not playing on a damn Thursday.
They are not going to play on Friday nights, Michigan and Ohio State.
No, and that reminds me, there's a scheduling thing I need to mention at the end of this, not related to Michigan. But no Friday nights, no Thursday nights, just all Saturdays for them. Only one stretch of back-to-back road games when it's there in mid to late November. And then also, as far as the teams that they do not play, is a little flickering going on here, I guess.
Like a battery or something, yeah.
But as far as the teams that they don't play, and we'll just go straight down the line. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, let's see, Minnesota, Oregon, Penn State, Rutgers, UCLA, all teams they don't play. So for all the logos they did have, they don't play Penn State or Oregon. Iowa, obviously a salty team pretty much every year. Illinois' resurgence right now. Indiana's flying as high as they have in a really long time. So if you actually looked at last year's Big Ten standings, and I know it doesn't correspond exactly, but they don't play like the top half of the Big Ten other than Ohio State, basically.
Yeah.
They miss everybody else that was –
yeah, a lot of those logos are just like, who are they now? Yeah.
They miss everybody else that was pretty much at the top of the standings last year. So that's not an exact science type of thing. It's just of interest, really. So if that were to carry over, then they might have caught a break. But they do still play plenty of logo teams. So there you go. No Oregon, no Penn State, but plenty to still chew on there for Sharon Moore. Almost said Jim Harbaugh, for Sharon Moore and the Michigan Wolverines.
Don't have any idea how much better they'll be. No idea. But better, yeah, you're
better at quarterback. That's for damn sure.
Paul, what you said about, though, you'll find out if they made the right adjustments. That second game, Oklahoma, Michigan, two proud dogs, right? I mean, as far as logos, to see if who's better.
Yeah.
Who's better? Because Michigan coming off that high, and they would trade the national championship for a couple of down years, but they got their ass kicked right off the top inside the Big House, and they never really recovered from that.
I know Craig knows this already, but do you know how many times that Oklahoma and Michigan have played each other before?
Twice.
Once. This will be the second time.
When was the last time?
Been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time. So,
well, go ahead.
No, I mean, I just look it up on Winsipedia. It's one of the best websites.
Yeah, it is. But think about Winsipedia. I went up and looked because the Georgia A&M conversation, which they played in
1976. Barry Switzer 14. Bo Schembechler 6 in Miami, Florida.
Well, that's one of those games. Those are the kind of games that Michigan that back in the day. And not that those games aren't still happening now, but Switzer winning, of course, with what he did in the 70s. My God, and 80s.